Hello everyone, this is Jack with Let's Draw Today. Thank you so much for joining me and drawing with me today. In today's tutorial, we are going to learn how to draw a hamburger with cheese. Here's a look at the reference photo I'm using to guide me. You can visit the link in the description for a closer look at the reference, as well as the step-by-step pictures that accompany this tutorial. Ready to draw a delicious looking burger? Let's do it! Start drawing the outline of the hamburger with the top of the bun. I will use a 2H pencil to draw the initial outline. Draw a round top and a flat bottom. For the bottom bun, draw a curved side downward. Then draw the bottom edge of the bun. When you get to the right side, you may notice that this edge of the bun has a sharper corner than the left side. That's okay though, it's perfectly normal for hamburger buns to lack perfect symmetry. Sketch the top edge of the bottom bun by using a curved line. Now let's sketch the outline of the first half of the lettuce on top of the burger patty. Draw the tip of the second leaf a little lower than the tip of the first group of leaves. Draw a larger third leaf and a pointy fourth leaf just before the midpoint of the bun. Sketch the outline of the second half of the top lettuce. For the first leaf, start with a triangle shape. Then draw a line from the lower tip of the triangle and back up towards the bun as you shape the leaf. As for the second leaf, it has two curves along its edge along with a flap at the end. For the third leaf, sketch a line going downward and then back up toward the edge of the bun. Next, we can draw the tomato and the onion toppings. Draw a disc shape, something like a hidden oval with a thick side for the first tomato slice. Draw the other tomato in a similar way. Then draw a line connecting the two center lettuce leaves for the bottom of the onion. Continue the line between these two leaves. Finish the onion slice by drawing a short line for the top. The next topping we are going to draw is the pickle. Sketch a curved line for the outer edge of the pickle. Next, draw the wavy top with a series of rounded peaks and valleys. Then sketch a few short diagonal lines coming from the peaks to indicate the raised top surface of the pickle. For the cheese slice, draw a line with a slight bend or two from the first tomato to the center of the top edge of the lower bun. Make the corner into a slightly wedged or rounded shape. From the corner, begin sketching a line going toward the other tomato. Draw a little bulge on the side of the cheese where it is beginning to melt on the hot burger. Finish the outline of the cheese slice by bringing the line over toward the other tomato. Now let's draw the outline of the burger itself. Draw the first side as a bumpy line from the tomato to the bottom bun. Draw the other side of the burger meat in a similar way. Trail the line along just above the bun. This allows for some of the bun's top edge to be visible. Draw a short line to finish up the corner of the bun. And continue sketching the bottom of the burger all the way across. Let's outline the bottom lettuce leaves now. Sketch a little piece or two hanging from under the patty on the outer edge. Continue to draw a wiggly line for the thin layer of lettuce between the burger and the lower bun. Draw another line above this one and overlapping the lower part of the meat. Finish sketching the lettuce outline nearly to the edge of the bun. Now let's add some texture to the bun. Draw some subtle cracks or little indentations just above some of the lettuce leaves and along the edge of the bun. Draw a few of them taller, but keep most of them short. Use light pressure with your pencil. We don't want these to look like deep cracks. Now it's time to add sesame seeds. Draw tiny seeds overlapping the outer lower edge of the bun. Draw a few more seeds close by the edge. Continue to draw more sesame seeds on this upper left area of the bun. Remember to maintain a shape and size similar to the surrounding seeds. Draw a short line in some of the seeds to represent the tiny dent found on a sesame seed surface. Let's keep going by adding more sesame seeds to the top of the bun. Draw some seeds in close clusters and other seeds by themselves. Draw seeds arranged at different angles. Use very narrow shapes to draw only the sides of the seeds along the bun's top edge. For the others, you can sketch a circle or oval shape and then sketch the tip at one end. Keep going until you have most of the surface area covered with seeds. If you'd rather draw fewer seeds, there's nothing wrong with that either. Begin to define the outline of the first group of lettuce leaves. In addition to the occasional tears along the edge of the leaves, put little wiggles along the edge to help shape the outline. Sketch a few lines running from the edge up toward the top bun to indicate separate leaves, as well as ruffles and folds in the lettuce. Shape the wiggly edge of the next leaf. Then sketch some short lines on the leaf itself. Repeat this with the next leaf. The fourth leaf has a smoother edge. Draw a line on the leaf close to the edge that curves over the onion and rides along the side. As for the onion slice, sketch a few light horizontal lines between each lettuce leaf. Okay, let's start outlining the outer edge of the next leaf. There are some interesting folds happening with this particular lettuce leaf. Now move on to the leaves after that. Outline and define the shape along the edge of the leaves. All it takes is a few simple but deliberate short markings to make these folds in the lettuce look realistic and believable. On the pickle, use light markings to indicate value changes, like under the leaf, under the onion, and under the onion and leaf on the other side. On the side of the pickle, lightly sketch several circles. Next, add more detail to the tomato slices. There are subtle waves and dents on the surface of the slices. Lightly sketch a few loose marks along the bottom edge. Then put a few marks on the top. On the other tomato, we'll do the same thing. In the next steps, we'll sketch some lines that differentiate between the light and dark areas on the cheese slice. Sketch a glossy reflection under the pickle. There's some shadow to the right and the left of the pickle. Now sketch a wiggly line going down the left side of the slice of cheese. A shiny highlight in the middle and a wiggly line along the other side. Now let's focus our attention on the burger itself. Start with a light line to separate the top surface of the patty from the patty's side. Then loosely sketch the bumps and dents in the meat that give it its texture. Most of these wavy shapes I'm sketching are dark shadow areas on the meat. The next step is to add details to the second and much thinner layer of lettuce. I'll begin over here on the left side by outlining this strip and sketching another arm extending farther down. Sketch some lines in the middle. Trace over the outline of the next leaf. Draw two little humps to show where this lettuce leaf is folding up in towards us. Trace along the burger. and draw some curved lines to show where the lettuce overlaps the lower edge of the meat. At this point, all we need to do is simply continue doing what we just did with the previous lettuce leaves. We already have the basic shapes established from the initial sketch. Look for little details from the reference that you can replicate. Simple things like where the lettuce overlaps the lower part of the burger meat. Continue outlining the lettuce all the way to the end. Now we'll move on to the lower bun. Add a little bit of texture and darken the outline. Put some very light marks to indicate soft bumps and breaks in the surface. Starting at the lower right corner, draw vertical marks that curve upward from the edge. While adding the texture marks, use a very light touch that barely grazes the surface of the drawing paper. Draw some sesame seeds on the lower bun. Don't draw nearly as many seeds as you did for the top. Draw some of the seeds tucked away under the lettuce and tucked into the bread. Draw a small cluster of seeds on the right side. If you would like an easier and more accurate way to complete the line drawing of the hamburger, I can show you how I drew this outline step by step using the plot point method. And you could also try the transfer method or grid method for additional support. I have ready-made outlines, grids, and plot point downloads for this tutorial and others available for members of the Let's Draw Today Club. Now that the outline is complete, let's begin the shading process. We'll use an HB pencil to shade a base layer of light tones on the top left area of the bun. Lightly shade over the sesame seeds too. Darken along the edge of cracks you see in the surface just enough so they don't get lost in the base shading. We can use a 2B pencil for some midtones and shadows in some of the lighter areas. Shade along the edges of the seeds. Put some shading along some of the shallow cracks in the bun too. The top of the bun should be a darker value than the lower part. Use your HB pencil to shade another layer of tones over the base layer. This time, shade mostly around the seeds rather than over them. Put some additional shading along the tall crack. Begin tracing around some of the seeds. In addition, put some light shading adjacent to the seeds where they are fixed to the bun. Go back to the 2B pencil to touch up next to the seeds. Put a layer of shading with the 2B pencil along the very top edge of the bun. Work around the seeds. Bring this graphite down a little bit, but not too much. Make sure to maintain the light values of each seed so it can stand out against the darker bun. Keep working to outline the seeds on the upper left part of the bun. Also, keep shading around the seeds so the bun has a darker shade and the seeds have a lighter shade. Bring some of the tones down from the top of the bun. Try to maintain a gradual transition from dark to light. Keep working your way across the bun. Add shading in a similar way. Once you know what to do and you realize the repetition involved in a drawing like this, there's not much required of you besides persistence and patience. We're pretty much done with the left side of the bun. Now we'll focus on the center. Similar to what we did with the left side, here we're going to put a light base layer of tones over the drawing surface. Next, develop the details in the seeds. Then shade the bun area around the seeds. Make sure to add some shading along the cracks in the bun. Remember to gradually lighten your touch as you get farther down until the top bun is essentially complete. Now we can work our way down to the toppings. We'll focus on the lettuce first with some preliminary shading of a base layer on the first leaves. Use an HB pencil to very lightly shade the first leaf bunch. Then move on to the second lettuce leaf. Finish up with the third lettuce leaf in the same manner. Next, we can apply some darker shadows to the individual lettuce leaves. Switch to a 2B graphite pencil. Put some shading on the very first leaf on the left. Now put some shading on the leaf next to it. Avoid shading over the entire surface of the leaf. Leave some spots open so you can see the lighter base layer showing through. Then move beyond the first pair of leaves to the much larger second leaf. Now let's use a 4B pencil for some of the heavier tones. Apply a darker layer of shading on the first pair of leaves just under the bun, and on the right side of the first group of lettuce leaves. Similarly, put some dark shading just under the bun and on the right side of the second leaf. Gradually lighten your tones as you get farther away from the edges. Switch to an HB pencil. Add some fine details to some of the folds of these lettuce leaves. Use a kneaded eraser to lift a few highlights. Use your pencil to draw thin veins on the surface of the lettuce. Draw a couple more lines on the second piece of lettuce. Have these veins run from the outer edge of the leaf to underneath the top bun. Draw some secondary lines going at a slight angle toward the main veins. Rather than drawing random lines, pay attention to the contour of the lettuce and draw lines that curve along with the surface. Moving on to the third lettuce leaf now. Begin shading the area underneath the bun with a 2B pencil. Now, we'll use a 4B pencil to apply the heavier tones of the cast shadow. Draw some veins and place some dark outlines along these veins on the right side of the leaf. So now that we've got the hang of it, let's focus our attention on the remaining lettuce leaves. Use the HB pencil to lightly shade the fourth and fifth leaves, followed up by some midtones with a 2B. Use a 4B for some darker shadows, and add some veins too. Do the same for the remaining leaves. Start with a light base layer of shading, followed by some shadow tones. Shade a deep shadow along the edge of the bun. Draw veins from the dark shadow underneath the bun to the lower edges of the leaves. The next topping we are going to shade is the slice of tomato on the left side. Start with an HB pencil. Lightly shade the narrow edge of the tomato slice. With a 2B, sketch some ridges on the lower edge. Then shade the area just above these ridges. Then put some shadow on the top of the slice and a little more on the side next to the second lettuce leaf. Switch to a 4B pencil. Place some marks to indicate the impressions on the side of the tomato slice. Put some shading on the side of the tomato next to the leaf. Next, put some additional shading on the top surface of the tomato slice. The darkest tones should be closest to the lettuce leaves, since this is the area where the lettuce casts a shadow on the tomato slice. Get a 4B pencil to shade the rest of the tomato slice that is visible directly under the third lettuce leaf. This portion of the tomato is tucked away under the lettuce, so its surface consists entirely of shadow. Now shade the other tomato slice. Lightly shade the side. Overlay some darker tones, but leave some of the lighter areas exposed to show through. Then begin to establish some shading on the top surface of the tomato slice. Go back with a softer pencil to overlay darker tones on the side and the top. Leave a little rim of lighter value. Bridge the lighter and darker areas on the tomato slice. Lightly shade the onion slice and add some darker shadow. Sketch a few vertical ridges on the onion slice for texture. As for the pickle, shade the peaks while curving your strokes to fit the contours. Very lightly shade the side. Then start placing some of the midtones and shadows. Outline the little circles on the side of the pickle slice. Develop midtone areas by shading away from the shadows. Shade the side with a light touch so the circles remain visible. We'll now shade the cheese of our cheeseburger hamburger. Use a kneaded eraser to soften the highlight and shadow guidelines. Then use soft, broad strokes to cover the surface of the cheese slice. Shade around the highlight outlines. Begin shading another relatively light layer of tones over the first layer on the cheese. Shade around the pickle and under the lettuce. Put some shading along the edges too. Now it's time to shade the actual hamburger beef. Start with the 2B pencil. Begin with a light layer of shading and a wiggly motion in and around the little dimples sketched in the side. Shade the top of the patty with a 4B pencil. Use dark, heavy tones extending toward the edge. Sticking with the same 4B pencil, develop some of the texture across the side of the burger. Start making marks in the side using the lightly sketched guidelines from the line drawing as a guide. Try to shade them the same dark value as the top of the patty. Use a 2B pencil to shade the seemingly empty space in the center of the burger. Shade from the top dark area down to the lighter areas below. Move your pencil freely around the bumpy texture of the burger's surface. These marks should be darker than the base layer you are covering, but lighter than the surrounding shadow areas. Continue to shade the spaces beyond the right side of the cheese slice. Shade in and around all of the various bumps and dents in the beef. Keep shading the beef patty until all of the area of base shading is covered with darker tones. Switch back to your 4B pencil. Shade along the lower edge of the burger patty. Use this opportunity to define the sharp, clear border existing between the patty and the thin layer of lettuce directly under it. By placing dark tones next to the lettuce leaves, which will be much lighter in value, it will help the lettuce to stand out much more clearly in our drawing. Continue until the entire hamburger patty is thoroughly shaded. Place some light base tones on the thin layer of lettuce between the burger patty and the bun. Start with some light outlining and shading of the lettuce leaves on the left. Then apply shadows in the tighter areas. Make sure to draw a few visible veins as well. Repeat this process for the middle section of leaves and the right side to complete the lettuce. Let's use an HB pencil to begin shading the lower bun. Lightly trace over some of the textures in the bun surface. Some crosshatch marks streaking across the bun can help to add some preliminary texture to our bread. Let's use a 2B pencil for the next step. Begin shading some of the rugged lower lines along the brown bottom portion of the bun. The area of the bun around the seeds appears to be white, so lighten your touch as you shade around the seeds. Sketch some heavier tones along the lower right edge of the hamburger bun with a 4B. Gradually blend the tones into the lighter graphite above to create a smooth transition. Next, we'll develop a few more of the light cracks in the bun surface with an HB pencil. Start near the top of the bun around where the lettuce is on the left side. Lightly sketch a crack or two curving downward. Sketch another one from the bottom heading up. Sketch a couple of lines to show where the bun is bunched up along the top center edge. Next, we will work to develop the sesame seeds on the lower bun. Put some shadow next to the seeds tucked under the lettuce. Outline or apply light shades of value on and next to each seed. Define some of the edges and sketch the little dimple lines inside the seeds. Use a 6B pencil to touch over the darkest areas. Shade just under the bun and above the toppings. Then go back and amplify some of the shadows on the hamburger patty. Make sure the shadows under the tomato and cheese are very dark. Go around your drawing and erase any smudges that might be on your paper. Then grab a 2B pencil for the final step. Sketch a surface for the burger to be sitting on. Extend some short horizontal strokes from the bun's edge so it looks like a surface. Make sure the surface is on the same level when drawn on the other side. And that is how to draw a hamburger with a slice of cheese. If you would like to see the complete version of this tutorial with step-by-step video clips at normal speed, or if you would like 10 of my real-time tutorials for free, then click on the link in the description for more info. If you found this video to be helpful, please like it, leave a comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to click on the notification bell so you don't miss new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for drawing with me today.